ora and welcome to UFC on Sky. Koravinda Hunia Aho. UFC 276 goes down this weekend and it features middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski, and our very own Kiwi New Zealand lightweight Brad Riddell. And he joins us right now from not only Fight Week but International Fight Week. Kia ora, kia koe, Brad.
Hey guys, how are you? Good to be back.
Very good, very good. I was just mentioning that you're looking very happy, very relaxed. What's the vibe in Vegas right now?
Yeah, it's good. It's enjoyable, you know. It's different to what it has been in the past with COVID. You know, during COVID, it felt like it took a little bit of the experience out of the week. It was a bit more shut down, a bit more job-like. But the fact that we have all these people back again and we've got a big crew over here, it's like an experience, you know. Like it's a 10-day banger. It's good fun.
Yeah, it feels like quite well, all the way from here in New Zealand, like a festival type celebration, you know, International Fight Week celebrating 10 years. So it's a pretty cool event to be a part of. What have you made of the occasion so far?
It's been, you know, as usual so far, like cutting the weight, starting to cut the weight, the food disappears a little bit more, the water appears a little bit more. So all those small discomforts, and to be honest, I kind of like them. It makes you sort of really tune in for the fight and feel a little bit more primal. But it's cool to be part of International Fight Week because I've never been part of one. I've been to a couple, but I've never been part of one.
What did you kind of have any expectations? I know you're talking about, you know, your preparation with food and water and things, but is it looking at here and concentrating on that, but meanwhile there's so much happening in the background?
I don't really know what's going on in the background too much because we're at an Airbnb, which I didn't know about, to be honest. So that made it a lot more fun getting to stay with, like, you know, the crew and have everybody around all the time. It cuts through the days a bit quicker and entertains you. And we got our media starting obviously today and tomorrow, so those days will be a lot busier. And then from Thursday, it's just get skinny and stand on the scale.
Let's talk about your camp, touching down there on Fight Week. What has been the highlight of your trip so far? Because it looks like there's quite a number of you there. Obviously, Israel and Alex are on the card as well.
Yeah. The highlight so far has been probably the basketball games in the morning. They're pretty fun. We have like a little playoffs going on, and blue team's up 3-0, so we're hosting the red team. And so that happens every morning. It's like a good way to wake up and get the body moving in about 40 degrees, get a bit of a sweat on, and it gets like the mood ready for the day.
Do you rate your shooting for basketball?
Not at all. I suck. But yeah, I'm more of like a verbal impact player.
Of course, commander. I like that. Look, in the you know, for the festival of it being International Fight Week and things like that, there's a lot of, you know, throwing back to old fights. There's a lot of fanfare and, you know, all these, you know, old fighters coming out of the woodwork to celebrate as well. I was just interested to know, you know, is there a fight that you look back on in the UFC that is a standout favourite for you?
Yeah, like one of my favourite fights of all time was Weili versus Joanna. I was here for that. I think that was the co-main event to Israel versus Romero, and that fight was unreal. Those two women like left their souls in there and part of it. So that's probably one of my favourite fights, I think, of all time.
Absolutely, and I was actually quite lucky enough to have Joanna on this show talking about her before she had her last clash with Weili, and I absolutely agree, one of the best fights. You know, last time we spoke, Brad, we spoke about you preparing for this upcoming bout against Jalin Turner, the Tarantula. Your fight camp is all said and done now. The game plan is, you know, locked in. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, I feel great. I feel like I always do coming up to a fight, so that always puts my mind at ease. I prepared the best as I could, right? Don't leave any stone unturned. And yeah, I'm looking forward to fighting Jalen. I'm looking forward to proving that, you know, I am top 15 in the world, and then I'm going to stay here.
And you are a top 15 fighter. You're, of course, ranked 14 in the lightweight division. Jalin Turner is obviously looking to be ranked with this fight. So you would be, you know, his entry into rankings possibly. Do you feel that you're being perhaps overlooked in this fight?
I don't feel like I'm being overlooked. Well, if he is, like, he's in trouble. And, yeah, I'm just going to show him that he's not ready for where we are.
The only reason I say that is because quite often our Kiwi fighters are overlooked in fights, whether they're champions or not, or coming off winning streaks or not. It just seems to be a thing that happens to our Kiwi fighters.
Yeah. Nah, like, there was, the other lightweights are all matched, you know, so you can either sit and wait to find a match eventually, and that, you know, it can take ages because there's only 15 of us in the rankings, or you can just fight someone that's not in the rankings, and, you know, either way you get paid the same. So I wanted to fight. They tried to match me with a guy in the top 15, but people were matched and other people will say no. And so Jalen's name came on the contract and I just signed it. It's no problem to me. Like, you know, opponent's an opponent.
I feel like a huge advantage for you, and you've used this word in the past, being battle hardened. You've had these big wars in the UFC now. You've had a few of them. Do you feel this is an advantage for you coming into this fight?
100%. I've been to, like, the darkest places you can be in fights, and you know, I don't think he's been there mentally, and I've come out on top from those places as well. So, and I've been, you know, the easiest places. So I'm experienced everywhere in this game, and wherever it goes is wherever it goes. But, like, to me, there's no concern. Like, I don't care. It can be hell for 15 minutes, or it could be 10 seconds of glory. Either or.
Yeah, so you love being in those spaces. It's actually, you know, a lot of people would find that hard to fathom, but you seem to enjoy being in those deep, dark places. Look, what are you wanting to show your fans or the UFC coming into this fight? You didn't get the result you wanted your last bout. So what are you hoping to leave out there in the cage come this weekend?
I'm just going to show them, not hoping to show them anything. I'm just going to show them that I'm still a killer and that I'm still, you know, an extremely exciting fighter. And, you know, I'm game to fight anybody. And I prove that by signing any contract that comes across, you know, my email. And I'm sure people are looking forward to seeing me go again. The last fight was a good fight. I made a mistake against a really high-level opponent and paid the price for it. And I also don't think it was my best performance. So, yeah, this is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice one. Look, how much motivation do you get from watching your teammate Carlos Ulberg win in spectacular fashion last weekend in the light heavyweight division?
Oh, heaps. You know, like being there live as well, seeing the cage side, that was unreal. It's the best way to start fight week. And for him to get the, you know, to start that wave, and we're going to ride the rest of it, it's awesome. And he's still here, helping us out, supporting us, you know, enjoying his victory and his wins. So it's cool. It's like everything's coming to fruition.
It's true. We always talk about three-peats. Well, this time I'm not quite sure what you call a three-peat when there's four of you, you and your mates competing all at the same time. But you know, what was the reaction from the crew, you know?
Oh, we lost it. Like, we were like all zoned in and focused, like we were in there. And then it happened and we were all like, you just sort of natural emotion takes over. You don't even care what you look like or the face you pull. Like, you're just stoked that he got it. And it's good, you know, because his first fight wasn't him. He was like new and eager and, you know, pretty gun happy, and now he understands like the precision, calculation and patience you need in there, and he's showing that he's supposed to be there. You know, he's just going to get better. Like, Carlos is going to get better and better and better.
Yeah, well said, well said. And, you know, only experience will test that in the future for him. So he's off to, you know, back on the right track for Carlos. Another teammate of yours, Israel Adesanya, is on the card also, defending his middleweight title again. And we've spoken about in the past and wanting to lap the division, but this time he fights Jared Cannonier, who we haven't seen before. Your thoughts?
Yeah, just I always firmly stand behind Israel and what he says, and he says he's going to put on a stellar performance, shut Cannonier down and make it look easy. So if that was a possible bet to make, I would make it in those exact words.
Do you think Jared Cannonier has anything that Israel perhaps hasn't seen before?
I don't think he's got anything that he hasn't seen, but, you know, he's dangerous. Every fighter that you step in there with tiny little gloves like that and they want a belt, you know, that belt changes your life, like financially, everything, status. So, of course, there's always danger. Someone like that with that motivation hanging in front of them and just one man being in the way of it, they're always a threat.
Yeah, that's very true. And talking about titles, your other good friend, Alexander Volkanovski, is the co-main event on this card as well. When he's in the opposite end of the spectrum. He's fighting Max Holloway for a third time. Do you think you're going to be seeing anything different that you haven't seen in the last two fights?
Alex is very diverse. Like, I'm sure it's going to be a different fight completely. Max proved in that second fight that he can completely change his style. So this is going to be a super exciting fight. You know, these two guys have had like a little bit of a rivalry going on, and had some very close fights. So yeah, it's an exciting fight to watch. Like, regardless, like, the fans are winning on this.
And finally, what does the rest of the week look like for you leading into fight day?
A bit of media today, tomorrow, and Thursday is just, get skinny, stand on the scale, and then it's all fun from there. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty relaxed week. Waiting for some more people to turn up and more basketball, and we'll be away.
Basketball, that must be the secret now, moving in through these camps. You're going to need a hoop at the gym now.
Yeah, in practice for sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Brad. All the very best for the weekend ahead. We're wishing nothing but for you to get through that fight unscathed and have fun.
All right, thank you very much. I'll see you guys later.
Talk about Brad as an opponent, kind of what you see in him, and what kind of challenge you think he presents for you.
Brad's he's a good challenge. It's another step up. I think he's going to be a bit tougher than Malarkey was. I think he's going to be more well-rounded and willing to get into grappling exchanges this fight, and I'm excited for it.
On paper, it looks like it's probably going to be a pretty exciting fight, but do you let yourself go in with that mindset that it's going to be exciting, or do you have to think, no, I'm just going to dominate?
The last few times everybody said, oh, it's going to be fight of the night. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And what happens? I go finish. That's what I come here for. I don't want to see the judges. I want to finish.
What has clicked for you over these last few fights? I think a lot of people saw a ton of potential, really high ceiling for you. You had a couple losses early on in your UFC run, but now you're just on this tear. What do you think has changed? When did you realize I got something cooking here?
A lot changed. Okay, so it all came after I fought Matt Favola. I fought that fight injured, had a knee injury into that fight. And I just took time off, man, and just got around the right people. Had my coach in my ear helping me get back to full health and success, kept my mindset right. And, I haven't lost since because I hated that feeling. I didn't fight for 11 months after that. And that was the longest I ever went without fighting. And it was taxing mentally, taxing physically, and I was just like, fuck, I don't want to go through that again. So, I told myself, like, hey, you got to get on the road, get it going. If you want to be a champion, you got to do it right. You got to do it now, because I don't want to be fighting until I'm like, 40 years old. I don't want to do that. I want to be done like, maybe 35 at the latest,
Is he a danger, a threat to you?
I don't feel so. I feel like he poses a danger the same way all my past opponents pose, dangerous threats. But they keep talking about power. What is it? You ever heard that before when someone fights me? Oh, it's power this, power that. It's the same old song, Fucking get it off repeat. Get me a new song. I'm just glad I have a new blood to fight in this fight. So, yeah, it's time to eat.
We know that Alex Pereira isn't on this card by accident. I'm just curious what you think about him being like. Is it exciting because it could set up the story for you guys, or do you feel like he's kind of maybe riding the coattails a little bit and doesn't deserve it just yet?
A little bit of both. Coattails because, the guy supposedly beat me in kickboxing, and he's still trying to chase me because I'm the one winning in life. And I like that story. Like you said, it's the story we're telling ourselves. The arc in this story is going to be beautiful if he gets past Sean Strickland. They said, I said jury, light heavyweight champ, 3 fights in the UFC, but an extensive record in MMA. This guy's only had I think 4 or 5 fights, something crazy. So, you know what they're doing, but I like this because I get to take him out early before he's gonna get good, but not right now.
Nice. Last thing for me, you seem to be kind of a master of creating iconic moments. I guess what's your goal here? What's your goal here?
This is big, bro. This is for me, this feels like, I don't know, Super Bowl, WrestleMania, that type of big. So, yeah, I'm just going to show off and show out. That's what I do. I feel like this is one of those ones that's going to be memorable because I like to make things memorable. You know how I do. I put this on myself so that way I know, like I said, pressure makes diamonds. And when you put that pressure on me, when I put that pressure on myself, I will shine like a diamond. It's new blood, and I feel like a vampire right now. I'm dark. And my people around me know, like, they just know how it is when it comes to this part of the camp, like the fight week and, you know, the timeline that we're in right now. So, yeah, new blood. That's what I'm going to say. I like having new blood. The last two of just being, like the Vittori one, I got bored. The Robert one, I was waiting a little bit, and I just didn't like that for my performance. So I like having new blood, and I like having to rise to the occasion. That's the difference between me and him. I'm used to the spotlight. I'm used to all this shit. He's not. He's new to it. I feel like he's man enough and mature enough to handle it, but not like me. If I'm being silly and I get caught slipping, that's on me. If it's meant to be, it's all up to me. But there's nothing he does that I've never seen before. Not even in the grappling. I don't feel so.
Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira obviously fighting. If Strickland wins that fight, would you welcome a fight with him, or is it just you would? Okay, I was
like
just curious
Strickland,
about that
man.
because
he's like the little stepbrother I never wanted. It's a weird, like, respect. I respect the guy because he just speaks his mind. I speak my mind too, but he speaks his mind regardless of the repercussions. We're under the same paradigm, you know, management team, and yeah, I'm sure sometimes they have a headache with some of the stuff he puts out. But I respect the fact that he speaks his truth, whether I like it or not. He's, you know, freedom of speech in the right, and the great off USNA. Yeah, so I respect that. But yeah, he's like the little stepbrother I never wanted. And I saw him last night. He knows what's up. We looked at, you know, we know. He and me knows.
Jared talked during this media day about meeting you for the first time a few years ago. Do you remember that exchange that you guys had a few years back?
Might have been in New York. Was it in New York? Yeah, I remember he was a few rows behind me. I saw him, and I said, what's up? And I expressed my interest to fight him back then. Yeah. So I remember it, and I'm a man of my word, and here we are. Like I said, I've always, not in the sense, but I've always picked my opponents. Because everyone, excuse me, well, every time. Yeah, people pick and choose their opponents on the way up to the UFC because they want to pad their records. When I'm in the UFC, I pick and choose my opponents because I want to pad my records with legit contenders. So I picked and choose them from a while back, and like I'm glad he didn't fumble this time, and he made it to the dance. So yeah, here we are, and let's go.
Hi, is he over here to your left?
He's been waiting. Hold up. You go.
You mentioned new blood, and I actually saw Luke Rockhold the other day in California. He said he thinks he's the only one who can beat you at this weight. If he can beat Paulo Costa, is that a fight that could potentially intrigue you?
Costa, depends how he beats him. But yeah, he's getting on. So I'd like to get that under my belt as well. But that's who's he fought? When is the last time he fought? He can't just fight
Against
Costa.
Jan.
Oh nah, you got to do some more. Show me something. Like I said, depends on how he beats Costa. All these, everyone wants this. It's not even mine. I don't know. They got it from the fucking thing. I don't know where mine is right now. I literally don't know. Like I said, I don't care. But this thing gets a lot of attention. And it looks good on my black skin, so that's why I like to wear it. And it brings in more money, more checks, all that. But, nah. I just want to kill all these guys, all these names. And, yeah, Rockhold is definitely one of those names that can be on that list.
It's pretty interesting because when I made my middleweight debut, and we all know the dogs pissing and things like that, but what we don't know is that backstage, me and him actually came face-to-face, and I introduced myself because I had been a fan of him already. We were fighting on the same card. I thought that was pretty cool. And so we came face-to-face, and I introduced myself to him and congratulated him on his fight because I got to watch his fight. And it was kind of interesting, you know what I'm saying, because he was respectful, you know what I'm saying, but I felt like he was kind of sizing me up at the same time. And he even said that, yeah, we'll see each other. And I'm like, oh, well, if we do, I plan on let's have a good-ass fight. And I'm happy to be in this position. I'm happy to have the challenge that Israel's going to bring. I expect it's going to bring a different level out of me. And I plan on bringing a different level, anyway. So I'm excited, but I'm more prepared than excited. I want to get a performance in the night. I want to go out there, handle my business, put my hands on him. If I could touch him once and put him to sleep, that's perfect for me. Come on now. We all know this. There's only one outcome I envision. Nothing else outside of the age-old quote, and new.
Exciting weekend ahead, whānau. UFC 276 goes down this weekend, so get booking. The main card starts from 2 p.m. The prelims are live on Prime from midday, so tune in for that. Don't forget, featuring on that card, main event, Israel Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier for the middleweight title bout. Alexander Volkanovski is defending his featherweight title in a trilogy match against Max Holloway. And, of course, our very own UFC lightweight, Brad Riddell, on that card again against Jalin Turner. Now, if you're feeling a little like you're missing some UFC during the week, tune in on Wednesdays to ESPN for The Ultimate Fighter, Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. Thank you for joining us. Mā te wā.
What's up? It's Israel Adesanya, the UFC middleweight champion. Tune in Sunday to watch myself, Alex Volkanovski, and Brad Riddell do work at UFC 276 on pay-per-view.